Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel. Today I am here on the couch once again to do another how-to video, and we'll be talking about how to teach English in South Korea. But before we get into it, I thought I'd reintroduce myself. You know, I've seen a few new people trickle in, and you gotta know what you're here for. So, hi, my name is Lydia. I'm 27 years old, and just a month ago, I quit my big girl job in Toronto, Canada, and moved to South Korea with my dog. Am I here for 1 year? Am I here for 2? Could I go to China, Japan, Europe? I honestly have no idea, but what I do know is that I want to travel with my dog by my side, and I'm hoping that I can share this journey on YouTube for anyone who may feel the same sort of inclination to quit their job and risk it all. So if you're interested in that sort of thing and you want to know what I get up to, then keep watching. First things first, who can teach in Korea and are you even eligible? To begin, the first thing that you're going to need is a passport from one of the 7 approved English-speaking countries. That is Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the US, Canada, Ireland, and the UK. If you are from one of the 7 approved countries, then you're going to need a valid passport, a bachelor's degree, 3 to 4 years in any field, a clean criminal background check, and a TEFL or TESOL certificate. This is not necessarily needed for, I think, every country or every school. However, you can get it on Groupon. Just do it, 120 hours at minimum. Now, all of these documents need to be in either English or Korean, so make sure that they're translated officially before they are apostilled. Getting these documents together can take days to weeks to months, so please check on the processing times for your country before you start figuring out when you actually want to leave to head over to Korea. Your criminal background check should be valid at the time of entry into Korea, so don't get it a year in advance. I believe they're only valid for 6 months, so keep that in mind. Do your research and find out how long it takes for that turnover when it comes to collecting that document, and then do your own personal calculations to figure out the best time to get that criminal background check completed. When you have your criminal background check and your bachelor's degree done and completed, you will need to get those documents apostilled. Now, an apostle can be different in your country, so you would have to look for the equivalent. I believe back before January 2024, Canada didn't have apostles, we weren't a part of that apostle convention, so we had to get our documents notarized and authenticated by the consulate. However, now we are a part of the apostle convention, so we do get our documents apostilled now instead of doing that 2-step nonsense. When you are getting your documents apostilled, please do not apostle your original degree. Instead, take a color photocopy of that degree, take it to a lawyer, have it notarized, and then use that notarized copy and apostle that instead. Do not send your original degree to Korea, for the love of God. But you will be apostling your original criminal background check. I believe I sent my original criminal background check to Korea, and I took photocopies of it for my own personal record. Sorry. One more thing to note, for your criminal background check, it needs to be done at a national level. That means fingerprints. So for me, I had to do an RCMP background check, and it took about 2 weeks in business days to get back. So again, check what it takes in your country and how long you'll have to wait so you can factor in that time when you're preparing your documents. Now you have all of your documents together, but you're thinking, okay, what now? What jobs are actually out there for me? There are a few different jobs you can teach at in South Korea. The 2 most popular are public versus private schools. There are international schools and university positions. Again, I don't know about those 2 very much because I'm not a legitimately licensed teacher and I don't have a master's to be eligible to teach at a university to begin with. And those jobs are very, very, very competitive, but you can do a deep dive on Reddit and look that up yourself. Okay, so the public versus private debate is very heated, and I don't know, if you're like me, I'm on Reddit and I see a lot of back and forth on what is better. I think they're relatively the same and they both offer pros and cons. When it comes to public schools and going to Korea, the biggest program that you're going to hear about is EPIK. EPIK is the English program in Korea, and that hiring process takes almost almost, 6-8 months to apply, hear back on an interview, then send out your application package to schools and figure out what school wants you. And then like you kind of know where you're going, but you don't know exactly where you're going. Then you go there and then you find out during orientation that you're in the middle of nowhere, 4 hours outside of the nearest city, teaching at 5 schools. It's a lot of surprises. However, I think EPIK is great in terms of introducing you to the country because you have an opportunity to build a community of people with your intake. So for me, the biggest con with EPIK is I obviously can't bring my dog. Also, you don't really know where you're going. So as someone who needs to be in the city or in close proximity to a city, I just didn't think that that would be the best option for me. So if you're like me and location is the most important thing to you, then you might want to consider going the private school route. Again, I can't tell you one way or another. I think you just really have to do your own research and figure out what your non-negotiables are. And from there, you'll be able to choose whether public or private is the best route for you. Now, when it comes to private, that is its own video in itself. Private schools are also known as hogwans, and hogwans don't have the best reputation online. You're gonna see so many horror stories about hogwans. And that's not to say that there aren't horror stories with EPIK, there are. However, hogwans are its own beast entirely. So what are hogwans? Hogwans are private academies, and they can be kindergarten focused, or they can be after school, afternoon class focused, or it can be a combination of both. I currently work at a combo hogwan, so in the morning it's kindergarten, and then in the afternoon it is our advanced afternoon classes, so for kids who finish school and then come afterwards. For combo hogwans like mine, I work 9:40 to 6:40. Honestly, I wouldn't wish these work hours on my worst enemy. However, if that's something that you think you can manage, then more power to you. It can be very exhausting, I'm not going to lie. Bronco's coming to visit. You are not going to be working 8:30 to 3 p.m. and leaving and going home and having the rest of your day. You are going to be worked like a dog, okay? At least for your first year. I don't know. Maybe there are people who have better luck than me or others. However, that's something that you need to consider. So don't come to Korea looking for an easy job. Teaching kids in Korea is not an easy job. You have to be mentally prepared. I believe the hours for hogwans can be like 9:40 to 6:40, 12 to 8, 1 to 9. And there's just so much information out there on what would be best for you. And when you are applying to these jobs, again, that's something that you need to consider how you want to be splitting your days. But yes, big pro about hogwans is that you can choose where exactly you want to go. You'll know what ages you're teaching, what your work hours are, and there's like no question about it. Now you've decided, okay, I want to do private. Maybe I want to apply to EPIK. That's great. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to an ESL job hunting website. And what are those websites? Well, there's a bunch. I'm not going to say all of them, but I'll list them down in the description box below. A big popular site that I've used for years is Dave's ESL Cafe. They have an international job board, a specific Korea one, and I believe a China one. So if you're interested in any of those locations or just even want to browse what other countries are hiring, yeah, check it out, Dave's ESL Cafe. So when you open up that job board, you're gonna see like a bunch of very long titles. Suwon, Daegu, Busan, hot, high-paying jobs, blah, 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 blah. Those are all recruiters, okay? Some of those headings will be from direct hires, meaning that it's the school directly posting on that job website to look for a teacher. However, yeah, 95% are from recruiters. When it comes to recruiters, you don't owe them any loyalty, okay? They are loyal to the schools that they're trying to place you at because when they place you, they get your money. Don't pay no one upfront fees. It should always be free, okay? But yeah, use as many as you want. I sent like 50 plus emails out. I used like 10 or 15 people. And then when I found my job, I just let them know like, hey, I found something, but I'll reach out to you when I'm looking for a new position. Don't let these recruiters pressure you when you're interviewing with these schools, or they send you a job offer from a city that you did not choose. Be upfront, stick to your non-negotiables. If they send you a job from, I don't know, Suwon, but you want to be in Seoul, I'd be like, sorry, honey, that's not what I want. They will do that. They don't care what your preferences are. They're just trying to bully you into taking a job. So stick to your non-negotiables and don't let them pressure you. You will find a job where you want to find a job. Just give it time. Now, when it comes to hiring seasons, Korea has 2 major intakes or starts to the school year, which is March 1st or September 1st. So when you are looking for your job, you should look 3 to 4 months before March and 3 to 4 months before September. You know, hogwans do hire year-round, so if you wanted to, you could find a job in June or, I don't even know, in January. That is totally fine. The pickings are a lot slimmer, so if you really want to have like the best possible setup and the most options, then wait for those peak hiring seasons. If not, and you don't really care, then yeah, you can apply anytime that your heart desires. So you're gonna have 2 sort of like interviews, or not so much interviews, or more so like discussions. First interview is going to be with your recruiter. They just want to see how you talk, what your reason for applying to Korea is, and get a gauge of your type of personality and ask you some clarifying questions. That's about it. Your next interview will be with the schools that you're applying to. So these interviews could either be really, really intense, or like, hey, how are you? Hi, okay, this is your job. Yeah, it's such a toss up when it comes to that. So prepare questions that you want to ask, especially if you're going to have an interview with someone who's going to be like, oh my God, you're so amazing. I love this. No questions whatsoever. Do you want to start tomorrow? And you're just like, So have some questions. Some questions that I recommend, I have it on my phone. I'll read out to you. Okay. 1, what is our break and prep time like? How many hours of prep do I get per day? Do I need to create the lessons, or are they already planned? Do you already have a curriculum for the students? Do you use smartboards or whiteboards? That is important because I use whiteboards and my hands are exhausted. I run through like 4 markers a day. It is so time consuming. So yeah, I think smartboards are preferred. How many students per class? Can you give me an overview of my day from start to finish? How many foreign teachers are there currently? How many are leaving? Am I a homeroom teacher, or do I teach alongside a Korean co-teacher? Would I be able to speak with a current teacher at your school? These are questions that you can ask. There are so many more online that you can use and add to your, your notes when you are talking with the school. It's good because a lot of the schools don't really offer this information up front, so it'll help you better direct the conversation and make you feel better about your decision when you are looking over that contract and signing it. Say you found a school that you really, really like, and now you've signed that contract. What's next? Well, your recruiter will guide you through everything. They're going to be sending you an email with how to apply for your visa in your specific country. You're going to fill out that visa application form, take it to your nearest consulate or embassy. Korean consulate or embassy. I mean, if it's not obvious. And then you're going to be applying for your visa. For me, you have to book an appointment in Toronto. You have to book an appointment at the consulate in order to submit that visa application. And then from there, I had to wait about 2 weeks to get my electronic visa notification form. And from there, I was able to book my flight and fly off to Korea. So that's pretty much it. If you guys want more videos on, how my first month was like, how much money I should bring, blah, 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 then let me know and I'll make some more content for you. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.